Welcome back to the woods. We're going to do another 24 hours overnight. I've got with me some Norwegian military MRE rations, and we're going to build a shelter using a mixture of natural materials and handmade materials, and I'm going to call it the trash tunnel. Why the trash tunnel? Well, I'm going to use some trash bags or bin bags, and I'm going to build a frame, wrap these around the frame, and have an entirely waterproof shelter. I'm going to spend the night in it, going to eat some rations. It's going to be good fun. Thanks for joining me. They have to be green because in order for this shelter to work, it has to bend. I have to be able to bend them. So here's a green stick. This is just a twig. And if you can see, I mean, that's really bendy before it even snaps. You know, that's a pretty bendy stick. It's not snapping, it's not brittle. In fact, if you look, I can kind of tuck it into its own little knot almost. And here is a dead stick. As I go to bend it, it's got a natural bend already. It just snaps. It's just totally brittle. There's no flexibility in it whatsoever, and that's because it's dead. So that would be useless for the shelter. So it has to be green, and these are going to go in the ground like this, and that's what's going to make the tunnel, the trash tunnel shelter. We'll test how bendy they are. They're pretty bendy. Break those fibres up. Sometimes you'll hear a little crack. Not a snap, just a little crack, and that's when the fibres are starting to go, and you don't want to be bending it anymore once you hear that. So I'm driving these, I just drove that in with the stick, and I'm driving these bendy, long 12 to 15 feet, not even that actually, probably about 12 feet saplings in, and now because of how far they are in the ground, they're able to bend against the hole that they're in, so I can just curve them over. But before I put one in the other end, I'm just lining them up on one side first so that my shelter can stay nice and straight, and then I can mark in where they go the other side. just cutting up the bin bag to make it bigger for the shelter. But naturally, when you're using the knife, you've got to be careful I don't pierce any of that part or the lower part of the bin bag. Just got to cut the kind of side without piercing the rest of it. Otherwise, we're going to have a leaky shelter, folks. There we go now. And there we go. I'll try and show you before and after. That's the bin bag before. So there's these funny things are just so apparently you can make it easier to tie the top of the bin bag. They're a little bit frustrating, but we might use them to our advantage. So that's the kind of 50, I think it was 80 litres, sorry, just sack like that. And all I've been doing is just trimming the bottom so it folds out into that. That's where the seal is at the bottom of the bag. If I cut just below that seal, or just above that seal, like so, I'll go in there first, then it's actually much easier to just unfold the bag. It's just a lot easier to just pop these gaps open like that, and then the bag's essentially already open at the bottom. It's just like opening at the top. Just makes it a lot faster. There we go. So now I have the bottom. That's the bottom of the bag. This is the top of the bag, which is normally where you tie it up to do the bin. So I'm essentially opening up both ends of the bag. So the framework for the trash tunnel has been made. All pretty much silver birch, except there is a pine, straight piece of pine just over there. I just added an extra bit of ribbing here. This is secure in the sense that it's not going to go anywhere for the next 24 hours, that's for sure. Over time it will possibly weaken, but it's actually, where all these are lashed in, it's actually now a really stable, strong, if you look, really strong, rigid, stable structure. And it's flexible. They shouldn't snap down at the end there now, and these ribs shouldn't snap because, well, these bending frame bits that I started with, they shouldn't snap now because they're all supported by these horizontal beams. So everything is just constricted, bound together, and I could have used more of these curved arches to make it even more rigid, but frankly I don't really need it. It's going to be enough. So all I've got to do now is utilise the bin bag or the trash bag, which ordinarily would never have covered this, to go over the top of the shelter. Now it's not going to go all the way to the floor because I'm restricted by the type of trash bag that I've got and the frame that I made. But that's easily, it's like a tarp essentially. I only need it over my head. So now I've just got to tie it out. So I need to make this tight from the top ridge. It needs to sit kind of like that. Pine cone, and I'm just going to hold that pine cone under there, wrap that round that bit of trash bag, bin bag. I'm going to bounce between trash and bin, by the way, guys. Give it a twist so I know that pine cone is sealed, and that's going to act as basically a toggle for my slip knot. I'm only going to do this gently, this slip knot, pull it down first. Now I can tighten up. That's now ready to tie off anywhere, here, back there, but I'm going to get the other pine cone ready first over there. It just gives me something to pull the tent tight, the trash bag tight, without ripping it or making any holes in it. I could pierce a hole, put some cordage through, but it would just rip. Now I can pull the tent, keep calling it a tent, I can pull the trash bag at any angle that I want. So I'll do the same the other side. So I'm going to try opening up this chicken and lime, menu 9. It's Chicken and lime, menu 9. Arctic Field Ration, Norwegian. Sort of vacuum sealed. What do we got? So this is not a 24-hour one, like the British one was 24 hours. The guys at MRE Mountain have sent me 3 of these, obviously, which would then last you enough for calories for 24 hours. The British one, I think, had 3,000 or 3,500 calories. That was an operational ration, so it's a much bigger one in one big bag. These are smaller individual ones. They have 1,300 calories. So obviously 3 of those you're going to have easily enough for your daily amount. Let's have a quick look. I'm going to spread this out and we'll see what we got. Okay, so this is the contents of menu 9, Arctic Field Ration. So you got your, this looks vacuum sealed, the full meal there, that's the chicken and lime. Quite nice packaging actually, super well vacuum sealed. And then we've got a Mexican style beef wrap. It's nice, they've got obviously the Norwegian, which I can't read, I didn't understand, but they've got the English description underneath. This one is another real meal. This is the energy drink, the taste of peach, so peach energy drink. Then you've got spearmint, disinfection swab or wipe, instant coffee, looks like hot chocolate from the packaging. Doesn't say in English, but you guys in Norway, Scandinavia, I'm guessing you know that. And that looks like a protein bar, yeah, cranberry protein bar. And a spoon, not a spork, just a spoon. So not loads really, to be honest, which is why it's not enough for 24 hours. I opened the packet and it's got a fill line here. It says fill line, and the same down the side, I think, there. Normally I just pour it into a cup with some water, but this one, I guess you have straight from the packet, I don't know. Oh, that smells amazing. Problem is, it's not a see-through bag, so I don't really know where to fill through. I'm probably doing this totally wrong. Cheers. Awkward. Oh my days. That is, without doubt, the best energy drink I've had so far. I've only had the British rations one, I think it was menu 3, menu 2, menu 3 and menu 2, which had lemon, peach, no, lemon, apple, I think lemon and apple. This just smashes it. Really good. Good quality. The beef wrap, I'm not sure. It's in the kind of pack that you cook. The packaging that you would boil, obviously being a wrap. I don't think that's a wise idea, so I'm just going to open it. Yeah, you must be able to eat it straight up. Oh, it's got, look at this. This is cool. I don't know if you guys can read that. It says do not eat, which is this. But what is it? Oh, packet enclosed to keep product fresh, but you don't eat it. Maybe it's like those silicone things that you get in camera equipment and things like that. Very flat. Flat wrap. 228 cal down the hatch. Oh, a bit of a tang to it. A solid sort of probably 6. More because it's kind of quite processed. It tastes quite processed. That is getting a 10 out of 10, folks, from the energy drink rankings. Definitely 10 out of 10. So we've jumped forward about an hour because I've made some, well, I finished, as you can see, the bin bags on top of the shelter, but I also made some adjustments. Originally it wasn't going down to the ground, it was kind of, there was a gap of about, I don't know, 8 to 12 inches, probably 8 inches, which is fine for the conditions at this time of year. But I was just thinking, if there was a cold breeze to come in from the sides, you know, it's not protected at either end. I could close it in on one end, but I figured because it's, you know, the sides are the most protection from this shelter and the top, it made sense to make it go down to the ground. And so what I did was I basically pulled out this leg and did each leg at a time and took off about 4 inches from each side, and now you can see that it pretty much touches the ground. It's losing tension just where the recycled plastic goes slack, so it's always going to lose a bit of tension. It's, you know, it's that type of material that stretches, but I'm pretty pleased with it. It's a decent low profile style tent. And here's the issue, I'm going to talk to you quickly about this. So we are losing a bit of light. I've taken my cap off because otherwise you're just going to see the shadow on my face all the time. I do have a camera light, but I don't want to use it just yet and save battery. Because of the way that I've stretched these bin bags over the top of the frame, it's not one big bin bag or like one big tarp. If I had, say, 150 litre bin bag, I would just cut it so that it'd just go one section over the top here. I don't, I've only got the smaller ones. So I've had to do it this way, and inevitably that's going to leave a gap. You can see my hand here, there's a gap there, and then there's a gap to the third bag here. This is 3 trash bags. Now, in light rain, no problem at all, it's going to shed the water just fine. As that water beads up in heavy rain, it's going to kind of sag here, trickle under, and obviously go into the shelter. What I've tried to do is just underlap this, or overlap the top bag, pull the next one underneath, so there's kind of a double layer of about that much. It's going to slow the rain down, but it's not going to totally waterproof the shelter. What I could do is just grab one more bin bag. I'll just show you. I'm not going to do this, but I'll just show you in principle how you could keep this structure as it is and stop water going in from the top. Once the water hits the sides here, it's just going to run straight down, but anything that lands on the top has that risk, especially here, of trickling down. So to prevent that, this is what I would do. I'm not going to, but I've cut a bin bag in half here. I would get a pine cone, wrap it round, make the same toggle that I do, and then I would lay this over the top like this, covering all those 3 sections where the divide is between the bin bags, and that way this would all be pinned down tight. Imagine that's taut like that in the corners. Remember, I can tie off from any of these points really, and then I would have a totally waterproof shelter. Not only that, it makes it a lot more durable. If any ash from the fire was to land on this, it's got 2 layers or 3 layers in some places of plastic to burn through. In theory, that is what I would do, but I'm not going to do it today, folks, because we're running out of light and I want to get the next meal on, because yeah, it's getting towards that stage where I need to set up. I've also done this. Much less of a gap now between the sides, and it's a long tunnel. It's 2 feet easily longer than what my body is. In here, I'm just going to pull this out so you can't see it because of the light. But earlier, what I did, just quickly, my microphone wasn't on, so I lost the whole clip of me talking about it. But I basically filled these 2 trash bags. There's another one back there, and I can do a third if I need to. I filled them with leaves, and then I tied off the top of them. And these are just staying like that. I flattened them out, and that's essentially, I don't know, maybe 10 centimeters, or I don't know, 4 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches thick. Once I lay on it, it's going to compress, but that will be easily enough as a comfortable mattress to sleep on, but also it's going to reflect the heat back into my body. So that's the idea of that. And the great thing about it is I can just undo the bin bag, get rid of all the leaves from inside, take this bin bag home, and then use it as an actual bin bag or for anything else. Doesn't take long for this to boil on the folding stove. So this one is the Wait a minute, what one is it? Chicken and lime. I think I said earlier they were vacuum packed. I think they're like freeze-dried meals. I haven't sort of looked, well, I looked a bit into it, and apparently these are the most advanced MREs for NATO, as part of NATO. So yeah, almost within the sort of European army as such around Europe, these are rated as pretty much the top, the Norwegian Arctic Field Ration. So I mean, I can tell they're really good quality. They are very, very good. Just the packaging and everything. There's obviously a lot of effort that's gone into it. Apparently I think there's like 24 menus. So we've got a lot of overnighters to do, chaps. That is a really full one. Oh, I nearly knocked my water over. There you go. So kind of freeze-dried, like I said. You don't really get much of a scent from sniffing it. You just got to pour your hot water in and let it sit for, I think it's 8 minutes. Thing quickly I realised you can do is obviously reseal it, if I'm doing this properly, reseal it and shake the bag. That seems to be the main thing to do. Reseal it, fold it over and just mush it around, get all the liquid in that way rather than trying to stir it with a spoon all the time. I mean, if you were going for stealth, I would obviously, the black, although it's not reflective, it still stands out in the middle of the forest. So this is rhododendron, this plant. It's quite an invasive species actually, and it grows quite fast and it spreads through forests and woodlands really quickly here in the UK. I haven't decimated that whole bush, but it wouldn't do any harm to the forest by doing that. But it just goes to show what it looks like, you know, how to make your shelter more stealthy. Just adding a bit of foliage, a bit of debris that's from the natural environment around the surroundings that you're in will really help to increase decrease your profile, make you more stealth. I'm probably not going to keep these up against this, because I know where I am. I'm not going to keep these up against this shelter when it's windy at night. I've not buried them in the ground and they'll just start slapping against the bin bags, and I don't really want them to rip or tear because they're so fragile being that recycled plastic. But this is what it would look like anyway. Just worm my way out of here. Well, it's not pretty. Tastes really good. In fact, there's a lot of veg in here as well. Cauliflower, green beans, bell pepper, onion. I can really taste the veg as well. That's nice. Showing up as 439 calories. These are gluten-free and lactose-free for those who are wondering. And yeah, they've got English on the back as well as Norwegian and other languages actually. French, Finnish, Norwegian, Denmark, Sweden, and yeah, all different languages. Drop me a comment if you're from Scandinavia, folks. I appreciate your views and your support. And if you're not from there, let me know where you're from and I'll see if I can get some rations from the country that you guys live in. That would be cool. I want to try them all. It's like Pokemon but with rations, MREs. I might fill that up again and just try this hot chocolate. Hope that was the right way of doing it. That's how I normally make hot chocolate. Whoops. I'm letting the fire go out because that's the thing with the fireboxes or little stoves like that. You're limited on the amount of wood you can use, the size, so it ends up just burning through the wood really quickly. Oh, I think I nailed the hot choc. Yeah, the ground's too dry at the moment for full on fire, especially this peaty soil. I've always said it in my videos. Tonight I want to try and protect this trash bag shelter in case it does totally leak. I've got another shelter in mind for these, by the way, so they're not going to go to waste. Well, we're in. This is the headroom I've got. Not a lot, but when I'm lying down, I've got quite a bit. That's the end of the trash tunnel. I think you guys can see that. If I put this on full beam, you might be able to see a bit more outside. Yeah, that's it. Not a lot, but pitch black now. It's about 9 o'clock, which is about my bedtime these days. It's been a cracking little setup. I've enjoyed making it. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. I'm going to finish off with one of the mints. Hold on a minute. Let me just leave you guys there. Oh, it's a chewing gum. Well, that's not really what I wanted to finish off with, but we'll roll with it. Anyway, cheers for watching, folks. I'm going to call it a night, and I'll let you know in the morning how the tunnel shelter sleep goes. Let's just hope it doesn't leak. See you in the morning, folks. That was not a bad night's sleep, actually. A little bit claustrophobic in here, especially after the browse bed, the sort of bin bag bed. It meant I was quite a bit closer to the top. There's a bit of condensation, but I was a bit closer to the roof of the shelter than I thought. So although it's low profile and stealthy, obviously that means that you lack that in room and the ability to move around in the shelter. But I'm pleased, I'm impressed. It worked, it serves its purpose. Easily enough for 24 hours. To be honest, I think you'd easily do, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. It'd be a bit uncomfortable after a while. I think where it would lose its goodness is if it was really stormy, is wind essentially, because it's kind of acting as a wind tunnel. And it's like I said, you know, I could seal off one end with another trash bag or bin bag, either end, depending on where the wind comes from. But this type of shape with two ends open is always gonna act like a wind tunnel. So potentially in strong winds, I don't think I'd want to be, well, give it a go, but I don't think it'd be an amazing shelter in that. Heavy rain, I think I'd be fine, but like I say, with the joins in the bags where they're not covering the whole shelter one bag, there's splits and joins, water's inevitably going to come through. But we didn't have any rain last night. It's tinder dry out here still. It's quite nice because we've had such a wet winter. But the I'm gonna, like I say, I'm calling it the trash tunnel. I'm pleased, chaps. It's a good one. I'm gonna get out and crack open the next Norwegian ration. I've still got some of the other one left, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the next menu is for today. Let's get out of here. Getting out is the problem. Getting in and out of this thing, you have to sort of worm your way out. So I had menu 9 yesterday, menu 23 today. Looks like it's a vegetarian one. Couscous with lentils and spinach. I do like the way these packets are sort of sealed up, to be fair. The packaging is decent. So what have we got? Another cranberry bar. Oh, a dark chocolate energy bar. That looks nice. Freeze-dried coffee, disinfectant wipe and mints. Obviously this is new. This is the lentils. Spoons the same. Oh, we've got peanuts that are vacuum packed. Nut Walker peanuts, roasted and salted. Oh, what's the energy drink? Oh, it's lemon this time. That peach one yesterday was unbelievable. And then a Ziploc bag for all the rubbish. That is the trash tunnel. Looks awesome. You can see where I've doubled up the bin bags because it goes darker shade of black there. I could put some pine duff and pine needles up against these side gaps just to stop any cold draft coming in, but it wasn't that cold last night, and actually it's nice to have a bit of airflow, so it's sort of acting like a tarp really. There's the beds, which is just a bag full of leaves, which again I'll empty and take the bags home and reuse those. But it is surprisingly light in here, and it goes back quite a way. Nice view of the forest, the other side. Because you know, the saplings aren't gonna be perfectly curved, but you can see by the skeleton structure it's just helping to keep everything taut, and the rain should just run straight off to the side if it did rain. We were lucky last night, we didn't get any. It would have been quite nice for it to rain actually, just to see how well the structure would have held up. But I'm pleased with it. Peanuts, peanuts. It tastes good. Spoon broke. Good start. That's a lot nicer than I thought it would be. I've got to say I like the convenience of just adding the hot water to the bag. I'd say 7 out of 10. Good 7 out of 10. Mainly because I'm not a fan of the content. Sort of couscous is a bit, it's easy. I get it, it's simple. Same with lentils, you can cook them with anything, but the spice, however, is nice. The seasoning. This has 428 calories, this. It's nice, it is nice. Certainly feels healthy compared to a lot of MREs. Some don't feel as healthy. Well, cheers for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the trash tunnel. Real simple shelter to make. Has its advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, it's fairly cheap. All you need really is some cordage and the trash bags. The bin bags, they cost me, I think it was £1.50 or something like that for a multiple roll. Yeah, it's low profile, it's stealthy. You only need a few sticks and saplings. You don't need loads of kind of moss and everything like that. It's not an all-natural bushcraft shelter, but where I was using the recycled plastic instead of, you know, the plastic that's not recyclable, that's much more durable, so you can stretch it and pull it around a bit more. This over time starts to stretch and sag. It's just the way recycled plastic is with the trash bags and bin bags over here. Yeah, I guess it's being low profile, it's not the most comfortable for long term, and you can't really kind of pick it up and move it around. Although you could keep it all lashed together and let it ping out, take it to another place and bend it again. And that's traditionally how the shelter was done. It was just they take pieces of canvas or tarp with them, early travellers a couple of hundred years ago, and then they would just cut some saplings, bend them over. Often they'll do 2 saplings each side if they're making a big tent, and then interweave them at the top and all the way down, and then it's a much more rigid structure, and that's for larger tents. Maybe we'll do that down the line. If you want to stay up to date or follow on past videos of the 24-hour series where I do this type of stuff, I'll put a link in here, or check out the description below. If not, just type into YouTube TA Outdoors 24 hours or 24 hours TA Outdoors. I'm enjoying making the series. You guys seem to be enjoying it as well. Hit me with some feedback on what types of MRE you would like me to try out here. Different military ones. I only found MRE Mountain and the Norwegian stuff through you guys in the comments. So yeah, fire away and let me know maybe any other sort of suggestions for the 24 hours of shelters or types of content in terms of episode, what you would like to see. I do read the comments, so I'll have a flick through, and if I get some inspiration from you guys, then we'll crack on with the video and try and get it done. I want to pack this up now. I'm going to take this all back, and all the cordage, all the trash bags, I'm just going to still reuse those as tarps and things like that back at home. I use it for leaves and clearing leaves in the winter, just chucking them on that, and to be able to move a load of leaves and things like that. So I will reuse the ones that I've cut, and obviously I've got the roll, and the ones for the bed, I'll reuse those. Well, my battery's running low now. Normally I film the taking down of the structure, but my battery's going to cut out. It's blinking. I've got about 30 seconds or something. So yeah, take it all down. I'm going to leave no trace, as I always do in my videos usually. unless I'm doing a permanent camp with permission, and clear up the fire area and things like that. Cheers for watching, folks, and we'll catch you soon in the next one.